Chapter 006, Operation. Initiate. The Valkyrie Labs above-ground camouflage was a derelict farm, fields overgrown, buildings crumbling. Electrified barbed wire fenced off the property. With a single gate as the only entrance, surrounded by an endless forest dotted with shattered ruins of buildings, this area was once a small city during planet Harlan's old civilization era. Now abandoned, decades ago, planet Harlan connected with interstellar powers, gaining access to universal knowledge and entering a new civilization era. The social landscape shifted dramatically, leaving many cities deserted, imbued with a desolate, post-apocalyptic atmosphere. A Black Hawk helicopter descended into the dilapidated farm. 6 fully armed, black-clad agents emerged, their faces grim behind stark, horizontal black visors, radiating a chilling, keep-away aura. Nighthawk Squad 3. Captain, codename Silver Knife, reporting for duty to transfer the Valkyrie experiment team. Silver Knife's voice was as cold and hard as stone. Hela, smoothing back her hair whipped by the rotor wash, stated nonchalantly, "Whatever, Suv's in the garage, I'm commandeering the chopper, don't waste my time." Number 1, leading the 9 experiment team members, approached Silver Knife, standing tall. Experiment number 1, reporting, sir. Silver Knife remained impassive. "Let's move out." "Yes, sir." Number 1's face flushed with excitement. Being sent to headquarters for training was, in his eyes, the ultimate honor. The Nighthawk Squad and the experiment team proceeded to the garage. They pulled back camouflage netting, revealing several high-powered, bulletproof SUVs. The 2 squads departed through the single gate, vanishing into the forest. Hela boarded the helicopter and lifted off. A sudden unease settled over her. A prickling premonition. "Strange, feels like I'm forgetting something." Hela frowned. Today was the day the leader had approved her visit to her sister. Hela pushed the unsettling feeling aside. Mechanical modification room. With the final hinge in place, Harlan set down his wrench, wiping sweat from his brow. Before him lay a hollow exoskeleton arm, resembling an oversized silver alloy gauntlet. The outer armor was forged from manganese steel, a tough and durable alloy ideal for weapon and armor construction. To reduce weight and enhance shock absorption, the power arm's internal frame was crafted from lightweight metal. Every component was meticulously machined in the modification room's lathe. The Genesis facility's workshop and equipment were advanced, ensuring flawlessly fitted parts. The metal materials were readily available, even with the base's reduced material allocation to his modification room. Finding quality metal wasn't difficult. Modeled after his left arm, his left hand could slide seamlessly into the mechanical arm for control. A flick of the fingers activated hinge switches. Power came from a miniature engine, an air pump housed within the power arm's core, heavily armored for protection, capable of delivering significant strength. The blueprints contained every detail of construction. Combined with Harlan's own expertise, the process from machining and fabrication to final assembly was remarkably smooth. From Harlan's anachronistically advanced perspective, the control and power systems of this light power arm were rather rudimentary, and the materials were common. However, for the present, it was the best weapon he could create. In the short term, it was excellent gear, increasing his escape odds by at least 20%. Moreover, he discovered that while crafting by hand was far more demanding than the game's progress bar, it offered freedom for improvisation, a benefit far outweighing the drawbacks. Light power arm, left arm quality, common base stats, attack 35 to 58, defense 13 to 17, power level 38, durability 270/270 equipment requirement, strength 25 attribute penalty. Speed -3 length, 51 cm, elbow plus forearm plus hand, weight 14.7 pounds additional effect, plus 10 strength check bonus equipment grades ranged from lowest to highest. Gray commonplace, white common, green good, blue superior, purple excellent, pink rare, orange legendary. The system notified him of his first successful crafting, awarding 3,000 experience points. Creative technical work yielded richer rewards than assembly or enhancement. Harlan's current strength was 21. He spent 4 free attribute points to increase strength to meet the equipment requirement. During downtime at the lathe, Harlan used simple enhancement mod to modify a Type 73 Wasp pistol, boosting its attack power to 38 to 47, a significant increase over the standard version. This was the first weapon he had fully enhanced, and naturally, he'd keep the best for himself. With ammunition, this pistol would be a potent tool. Harlan also used leftover material from the power arm to forge a tactical dagger. The blade edge incorporated tungsten steel, making it exceptionally sharp and adding 10 points of melee attack. No point letting good materials go to waste. Thanks to Harlan's prolonged low profile, he was no longer under constant 24-hour surveillance. As the base's sole mechanical support personnel, Harlan crafted components separately, then welded and assembled them, maintaining a semblance of routine maintenance to avoid suspicion from the occasional security guard glancing at the monitor feeds. The process went smoothly, unnoticed. Harlan concealed the light power arm and the enhanced Wasp pistol. His inventory operated on realistic weight limits, not extra-dimensional space. The equipment was too conspicuous to carry openly. Tucking the dagger into his waistband, Harlan left the room and headed to the subterranean Level 1 cafeteria. Off-duty agents often gathered here to play cards and relax. Much of his intelligence came from their casual conversations. No one seemed to mind him overhearing. Presenting opportunities to gather information, feigning obliviousness had proven to be a wise choice. Man, I envy Hella being able to leave the lab. Stuck in this dump, it's driving me nuts. She's an organization executive, way higher rank than us. Hella's face and figure, I'd give up 3 years of my life to spend one night with her. Rookie, aren't you? The last guy who talked smack about Hella didn't even leave a hair behind. What makes you think she became an executive? You mean? She's a metahuman. HMPH, of course. Harlan's eyes flickered. Avoiding direct confrontation with Hella was excellent news. He had zero confidence in defeating her. He stood up and left the cafeteria. Unnoticed, every corridor was monitored by cameras. Escape required clearing the surveillance room first. The surveillance room was on subterranean Level 3. Harlan feigned aimless wandering, approaching the room. The armed guards he passed paid him no attention. 2 armed guards stood at the surveillance room door. 2 more watchmen would be inside, meaning 4 guards to silently and swiftly neutralize. Not easy, but he'd mentally rehearsed the scenario thousands of times. He felt no tension. A camera was positioned at the corridor corner near the surveillance room. Harlan checked for anyone nearby, then pulled out a piece of leftover soft bread from breakfast. He chewed it into a wet clump, then flicked it at the camera lens. It stuck, obscuring the view. No advanced hacking tools, just old-fashioned methods. He waited 3 seconds. No one emerged from the surveillance room. Harlan took it as a good sign. He'd overheard a watchman complaining to a colleague that the base had never faced a threat. So they were lax on duty. Harlan steeled his nerves and approached the surveillance room door. The 2 armed guards held up hands to stop him. No admittance. Unauthorized personnel. It's 0. Talking to him is pointless, just shoo him away. The guard on the left nodded and reached out to push Harlan's shoulder. In that unguarded moment, Harlan moved. He twisted the left guard's wrist. His other hand, lightning fast, drew the tactical dagger from his waistband and thrust it upwards into the right guard's jaw, piercing through to the brain. The dull thud of the blade entering flesh transmitted clearly through the hilt to his wrist. The right guard's expression froze, not a sound escaped him. Instant death. Harlan released the dagger and swung his arm back, encircling the left guard. Before he could react, Harlan had him in a crucifix neck hold. As trained security personnel, The guard knew the position's lethality. Panic flared as he tried to pry Harlan's arm loose. The next second, Harlan twisted with force. A distinct crack echoed. The struggling in his grasp ceased immediately, 2 lives extinguished in less than a second. You struck a fatal vital point. Normal attack converted to lethal attack. -162 and -171. In pale blue damage, numbers flashed above their heads. Lethal attack damage. The target's maximum HP. You eliminated a Genesis Organization armed guard, gaining 360 experience, x2, grasping the corpses. He lowered them silently to the floor. Harlan took a deep breath. The swift, ruthless kill, he had rehearsed it countless times in his mind. Killing didn't unsettle him. A chilling thought struck him. Had recent stress warped him? The largest creature he'd killed in his past life was probably a rat back home. Now, killing people felt no different. He desperately needed therapy. The system displayed their information. Agent level 7, strength 10, endurance 15, HP around 150. Standard combat stats for most laboratory armed guards. Individual HP varied slightly due to physique. You obtained 4 pistol magazines. Harlan recovered 4 Wasp pistol magazines from the corpses. He retrieved his dagger, reversed his grip, and cautiously pushed open the surveillance room door. Dozens of monitor screens cast a pale blue light across the room. Harlan froze, dumbfounded by the scene before him. The watchman, 30 grand, and constipated bro were intimately entwined, lips mere centimeters apart. The door creaking open startled them. They whipped around, their faces locking with Harlan's. Awkward silence hung heavy in the air. Harlan was utterly speechless. A mouthful of blood seemed to lodge in his throat, stuck halfway down. Eye-watering Chapter 007. Astonishment, what to do? Utterly awkward. Should he just back out nonchalantly? Offer a polite, please continue your performance. Regarding this unique expression of affection, Harlan neither endorsed nor condemned it. He felt he was witnessing not just 2 men, but 2 lonely souls. The high-pressure work environment inflicted immense stress with no outlet for release. Thus, these special bonds bloomed between colleagues sharing close quarters. Not their fault. Blame Tokyomi. Wait, wrong franchise. World's fault. Yes, the world. While his mind raced with absurdities, Harlan's reflexes remained sharp. He reverse-gripped the dagger, launching himself at 30 grand with the swiftness of a cheetah. 30 grand snapped to awareness, fumbling to draw his weapon. Harlan seized the moment, slashing with his blade. Were it not for constipated bro shoving 30 grand aside, the blade would have severed 30 grand's gun hand at the wrist. The surprise attack thwarted, Harlan remained unfazed. With a flick of his wrist, the dagger spun, reversing to a forward grip. He plunged it into the abdomen of the evading, constipated bro. Then followed with a clenched fist strike to constipated bro's neck. Fluid, uninterrupted motion, instantly knocking him unconscious. -42, -45, your strength is 25. Target strength is 10, strength check successful. You exceed target strength by 2-fold. This attack deals 50% bonus crushing damage. Target stunned. Harlan's strength, double that of these guards, allowed his unarmed strikes to inflict crushing effects, with added status effects like stun or fracture. Excellent, 1 threat neutralized. Harlan felt a surge of confidence. 30 grand, pushed back and regaining distance with a back roll, raised his weapon to fire. Gunfire would alert the entire base. Harlan reacted instantly, launching himself in a diving tackle, slamming into 30 grand. They wrestled on the floor, a tangled mess. Harlan's fingers clamped down on the trigger. Jamming it, he smashed 30 grand's gun hand against the floor, a yelp of pain, and the pistol flew loose. Harlan pressed his advantage, headbutting 30 grand square in the nose. The forehead, one of the body's sturdiest points, combined with Harlan's 25 strength, delivered a devastating blow. A muffled groan, and 30 grand's nose bone snapped. Blood gushing, sending him into a daze. Harlan seized the opportunity, rolling onto 30 Grand's back, his legs locked around 30 Grand's waist. His arm encircled 30 Grand's neck, applying crushing pressure. 30 Grand immediately turned purple, gasping, unable to scream, legs thrashing wildly. Like a drowning man, rear naked choke. You used a grappling technique. Your strength is 25, target strength is 11. Strength check passed, target unable to break free. For agonizing seconds they struggled. 30 Grand's resistance waned, neck pressure too intense, he lost consciousness. Close call, Harlan scrambled to his feet. Panting, a slight pang of regret, if only he were a martial arts class, this wouldn't have been so exhausting. Martial arts was Star Ocean's most popular class. No mystery why, pure coolness, utterly ridiculously cool, skill names, Chef's Kiss, Inferno King Earth Shattering Wave, Demonic Piercing Light Killing Ray. Starfall Destruction Fist. Whether the power matched the name was debatable, but they ignited the inner Chunabiu spirit. Uttering the skill name during execution felt like unlocking its full potential. Most players found it too embarrassing, but Harlan, having leveled a martial arts alt before, knew once you embraced the Chuni, it was strangely addictive. Everyone had a Chuni phase, right? Plus, martial arts combat style was simple, brainless punch punch punch, compared to the notoriously complex mechanical class. It was like Angry Birds versus Dark Souls, two games from entirely different genres, with wildly different difficulty curves. So accessible, Harlan had basic combat and grappling skill bonuses. Coupled with his martial arts alt experience, his fighting ability was decent, at least against ordinary human-level opponents. He used his dagger to finish off the unconscious pair. Mercy now was self-inflicted cruelty. He efficiently looted 4 more pistol magazines from 30 Grand and constipated bros' corpses. No time to rest. He dragged the 2 bodies from outside into the room, stripped off one's combat uniform, and used it to mop up blood in the corridor. He smashed all the monitor screens with a gun stock. After a quick check for loose ends, he locked the surveillance room door and left, his expression calm and collected, betraying nothing of the 4 lives he'd just taken. His first kills in this world, being a poker face, was undeniably a useful trait. No one could read his thoughts. Clearing the surveillance room felt like removing the all-seeing eye overhead. Finally, no more sneaking around. Back on level 2, a guard suddenly intercepted Harlan. "Mr. Vivian wants to see you." Harlan paused, his eyes flickering. Vivian was losing patience, as expected. He'd anticipated this day, though not quite so soon. On second thought, this might actually be advantageous. Vivian was a key research director, high-ranking, one of the few with base-wide access keycards. Harlan had been planning to target him anyway. The target was now conveniently delivering himself. Following the guard, Harlan arrived at Vivian's private lab. The room was dimly lit. Shelves lining the walls held rows of clear jars, each containing human organs suspended in formaldehyde. Resembling a serial killer's macabre collection, Vivian's gaze burned as he sized up Harlan. He was elated, brimming with excitement. "The organization has finally handed you over to me. Dissecting you will reveal what makes you different from the other test subjects. Once I've extracted your value, your corpse is worthy of becoming my specimen." Test subject number 0, what a momentous occasion. Harlan remained silent, a stone statue. His expression was obscured in the dim light. "Guard, secure him." "I don't want him struggling and disrupting my experiment," Vivian instructed, turning his back to them. He began selecting bizarrely shaped scalpels and craniotomes from a toolbox. Instruments that had carved countless human bodies, gleaming with a chilling, bone-deep coldness. Suddenly, Vivian heard a muffled thud behind him. Puzzled, he turned to find Harlan standing behind him, looking down, dominating his vision. Before Vivian could process it, a searing pain erupted in his chest. He stared down in disbelief at a dagger buried deep in his heart. strength rapidly drained away. The scalpels clattered to the floor. Vivian stared, aghast, into Harlan's eyes. Those eyes, in his memory always dull and vacant, now blazed with knife-edge sharpness, sending a chill through him. Beyond Harlan, Vivian saw the guard slumped on the floor, neck twisted at a grotesque angle, body twitching in involuntary spasms. Not yet dead. Vivian's mind reeled. He'd never considered Zero might resist. He'd witnessed Zero's entire journey, from birth to brainwashing. Where had it gone wrong? Wait, the cameras. Vivian looked with desperate hope towards the corner-mounted camera. Harlan spoke flatly, "Save your breath. The surveillance room's empty." That voice. Definitely not the vacant monotone of Zero. Vivian shuddered, his face ashen. With his last strength, he croaked, This whole half-year, you were faking." Harlan nodded. Impossible. Everyone was fooled. Vivian was stunned, as if hearing something utterly unbelievable. In this world, nothing is impossible. Harlan said, twisting the dagger. Vivian crumpled to the floor, eyes wide, unseeing, filled with disbelief and resentment. I was your creator." He died unable to comprehend how he could have been defeated by Harlan. Chapter 008. Suave Zero, ruthless and witty Harlan changed into the guard's uniform and left Vivian's lab. Several base personnel knew he'd been taken by Vivian. He couldn't appear in his original guise yet. Only 4 people knew him well enough to recognize him. Hela, number 1, Vivian, and Balota. The first 2 were off base. Vivian was eliminated. As long as he avoided Balota, he was temporarily safe. The underground lab's exit was an 80-centimeter thick special alloy door, impervious to any explosives in the armory. The only way out was electronic access, and only 3 keycards could open it, Vivian's being one. A pristine white card now rested in Harlan's uniform pocket. But sentries guarded the door, and level 1 was the guards' barracks. Everyone here knew the 3 white card holders. Impersonation was impossible. Next to the door was the emergency lockdown. Pulling the lever manually sealed the door system. The door would lock down completely if Harlan brazenly tried to open it with the white card. He'd be trapped, surrounded within seconds. A bullet would shave off dozens of HP. Focused fire. Best case he'd last 0.8 seconds. Dramatic. A decent way to go. Keep that version as a backup option. Harlan's plan, cut off communications, buy himself a few hours window. Safest bet. His initial plan was to disrupt power. But the door system was powered. Cutting power would lock it down. The communication signal transmitter was embedded in the level 3 walls, requiring the power arm to breach. The mechanical modification room was on level 2. Harlan needed to retrieve his gear first, but plans never survive first contact. 50 meters from the modification room, a massive hand suddenly clamped down on his chest. Harlan's eyes narrowed. His captor was Balota. Unbelievable bad luck. In this vast base, to stumble right into Balota. The last person he wanted to encounter. Was Murphy the embodiment of fate? Which squad are you with? Never seen you before, Balota questioned, suspicious. Harlan lowered his head, pulling his cap down to obscure his face. New transfer, B squad. Balota's suspicion deepened. New transfer, when? I wasn't informed. Your voice sounds familiar. Look up. Let me see your face. Harlan's peripheral vision caught Balota's hand drifting towards his holstered pistol, poised to draw. 3 guards nearby, sensing something amiss, were closing in. What now? Discovery meant Balota would immediately send someone to check on Vivian. Vivian's body found. His ruse was over. So, should he have dismembered and scattered the corpse after all? No. For the sake of his appetite in the coming days, best not to. Die here, don't even think like that. Have some faith, all right. Actions with obvious death flags. Don't start by anticipating failure, trouble. Didn't want to go to plan B. What are you muttering? Balota didn't catch it. Harlan suddenly straightened, a dangerous smile twisting his lips. Been wanting to tell you. You dumbass, you need to see a shrink. Zero. Exploiting the split second of shock, Harlan struck first. Dagger plunged towards Balota's chest. Balota's pupils contracted. Recoiling instinctively, the blade grazed his jawline, slicing flesh, drawing a bead of blood. Fire! The three guards scrambled to draw their weapons. But they were too close, less than 3 meters from Harlan. Point-blank range for melee, not ranged combat. Harlan closed the 3-meter gap in a stride, his fist slamming into the nearest guard's cheek. In slow motion, the skin impacted by the fist rippled like water. -48, the devastating punch stunned him. He staggered, colliding into his two comrades, all three tumbling to the ground. Harlan turned instantly, sprinting full tilt towards the mechanical modification room. Gunfire erupted behind him. Bullets whizzed past, sparking against the walls. Balota, hand clutching his bleeding jawline, his face dark with rage, unleashed a barrage of shots at Harlan. Giving chase, all agents Level 2, mechanical modification room, immediate backup, target 0, experiment escaped. Balota roared into his comms. Patrolling guards across the base exchanged bewildered glances, wondering if they'd hallucinated. 0 escaped? No way. Wasn't that experiment brainwashed? Training exercise maybe? Idiot, I just heard gunfire. Bullets screamed past. The sense of danger, a physical weight on his back. Harlan's mind sharpened to a razor's edge. His focus intensified, a unique state of mind, ice-cold, coldly rational. A torrent of information flooded his brain. The world around him became a crisscrossing grid. A spiderweb, everything interconnected. 2 seconds to modification room. Balota, 3.7 seconds behind. 3 guards, no threat in 4.2 seconds. Backup, ETA 25 to 35 seconds. Harlan had been through countless battles. Vast combat experience was the foundation of this state. He weaved, snake-like, dodging shots, laser-focused on evasion. Balota relentlessly pursued. He didn't care why 0 had turned. His duty was to capture Harlan, or, if necessary, eliminate him on sight and explain later. Interesting. Little toy wants to play rebel. Balota licked the blood from his jaw, his eyes hardening. You chose your own death, though surprised by Harlan's initial strike. Balota remained supremely confident. 20 years a hardened agent. 0, even with rapid learning, barely half a year of training. How many moves could he possibly withstand? And look at him now, panicking, running blindly. Harlan burst into the mechanical modification room, slamming the door shut. Hiding in a room, dead end. You're too green, Balota snarled, charging the door. He kicked, ready to breach, already swapping magazines, planning to unload a full clip the instant the door opened. Then everything changed. The door exploded inward in a shower of splinters. A metallic fist, molten silver, punched through the ruined door, engine roaring to life. A gleaming steel fist slammed into Balota's chest. -95, a sickening crunch of bone. Balota flew backwards like a ragdoll, smashing into the wall, ribs fracturing in 4 or 5 places. His pistol spun away. He coughed up blood, staring in horror at the transformed Harlan. Harlan now wore the exoskeleton light power arm on his left arm. A massive gauntlet enveloping his arm. Hinges and gears whirred, mechanical clicks and whirs. Metallic fingers flexed, exposed pistons hissing black smoke. Like storm clouds coiled around his arm. What the hell is that? Balota's eyes widened in terror. Nearby, the 3 downed guards scrambled to their feet. Raising their weapons, Harlan was faster, right hand raised, wielding the enhanced Type 73 Wasp magazine loaded. Bang, bang. 2 shots, agility enhanced accuracy. Skill provided precision correction. Harlan's marksmanship was now lethal. Bullets punched through 2 guards' eye sockets and throats, vital point hits. Instant kills. The 3rd guard fired. Bullets screamed towards him. Harlan reacted instantly, raising the mechanical arm. Clang, the bullet ricocheted off the power arm's outer armor. Light power arm, left arm, durability -8. Harlan finished the 3rd guard with another shot. The last guard's eyes widened in death. unable to believe that silent, docile Zero could be this monstrously powerful, brainwashed experiment. Lies, silence descended on the corridor. Only Harlan and Balota remained. Backup eater. About 30 seconds, Harlan stated, flexing the mechanical arm. His voice was calm. I really want to snap your neck with my own hands, to thank you for the 420 cuts you carved into me over the last 6 months. Balota's eyes blazed, spitting out blood and phlegm. He drew a dagger from his boot, crouching, ready to spring, sneering. That punch packed a wallop. But if you think playing with scrap metal will beat me, you're dreaming. Prove it. 30 seconds. Enough time to kill you 10 times over, Balota roared. Lunging, dagger flashing, Harlan braced the mechanical arm. They clashed head-on, shriek. Dagger scraped across armor, sparks flying. As they passed, Balota twisted, a lightning-fast leg sweep aiming for Harlan's knee, a scorpion's tail strike. From behind, sweep the legs, dagger to the throat, a deadly move. Harlan, trained by Hela, anticipated it. Reflexively, the mechanical arm swung back, slamming into Balota's shin. A sharp crack of bone, -87, power arm power level 38. Combined with Harlan's own, almost E-class metahuman standard, the light power arm doubled Harlan's attack. Even without crushing damage, each hit inflicted around 90 damage. Substantial. Balota's HP, barely over 300, even with the trained expertise bonus. Add the initial door-breaching punch, Balota's HP was already halved. His body weakening perceptibly, Balota grunted, ignoring the pain, pressing his attack. Dagger lunged for Harlan's eyes, but his movements were slowing. The mechanical arm clamped down, seizing Balota's wrist. Impossible. How can I lose you? Balota roared in fury, struggling for a final counterattack. His words cut short. Darkness slammed down. A mechanical hand clamped on his head, smashing it into the wall. Brutal force, silencing his roar in his throat. Thud, stone chips flew, blood and gore splattered. Harlan's eyes were glacial. He dragged Balota's head down the wall, leaving a crimson streak. Balota's face, ground against the wall, was a pulped mess, unrecognizable. Harlan released him. Balota slumped to the floor, lifeless, all bravado gone. Sorry, broke my promise. Didn't snap your neck. Want to get up? Let me kill you again. Harlan raised an eyebrow. Balota offered no reply. No chance to reply. You have eliminated Valkyrie Lab Deputy Director Balota. Gaining 1,500 experience, Vivian and Balota, the two men he loathed most, both dead by his hand. Harlan felt a thrill, like a long, cold drink on a sweltering day. Exhilarating, cathartic Chapter 009, Fierce Battle Squads and B arrived on Level 2, recoiling in horror at Balota's mangled corpse. Deputy Director Balota. Killed. What happened here? Where's the enemy? Surveillance rooms unresponsive. Someone get Dr. Vivian. C-Squad found Dr. Vivian's body. Oh God. Every guard inhaled sharply, faces paling. Zero. This was Zero's doing. Zero, who they'd all dismissed as harmless. Zero had single-handedly plunged the base into chaos. Key personnel gone, leadership decapitated. The guards realized with dawning horror no one was giving orders. Wasn't that experiment brainwashed? Had he been harboring malice? Biding his time, the thought sent shivers down their spines. Harlan's low profile, his feigned docility, it was all a mask, a hidden blade hanging over their heads. Ready to strike, a phantom assassin in the shadows. They'd been blind, complacent, ignoring Harlan's presence entirely. A wave of belated fear washed over them. Cold sweat soaking their uniforms. Don't panic. One enemy, carpet search, free fire authorized, Squad A armory, Squad B surveillance room, Squad C labs secure research data, Squad D lock down the main gate. Whatever Zero's planning, if he's escaping, he'll head for the gate, move, in the crisis. Squad A's captain seized command, his mind clear, orders crisp, clear instructions. The guards snapped into action. 60 armed personnel, ABC squads. Normally stationed across the base, now mobilized. but Harlan had contingency plans for every scenario. Boom, a muffled explosion reverberated from below. Every guard felt the ground tremble. Squadder captain's eyes widened. What was that? Frenzied gunfire erupted over the comms, mixed with frantic shouts. See squad engaging enemy in the lab. Repeat, see squad engaging enemy in the lab. Damn it, 0 detonated grenades. Lab's on fire. Grenades. Where did he get grenades? Squadder captain roared in fury. He and his team were posted outside the armory. No one had been near it. Backup. Immediate backup. Closest squad. B squad. Subterranean level 3. Surveillance rooms down. We're moving to the firefight. Subterranean level 3. Harlan crouched at a corridor corner. The lab, 10 meters away, belched black smoke, flames raging. He'd used 3 grenades wired together to incinerate the Valkyrie research data, consigning it to ash. C squad, a dozen guards, were pouring fire at his corner. After killing Balota, Harlan hadn't headed for the main gate. He'd retreated in the opposite direction. Back down to level 3, he knew the guards would set a net, a top-down carpet search. Rushing upwards would be suicide. Stealth escape was no longer viable. Harlan shifted plans. The lab, subterranean level 3, housed all research data, the base's core. Incinerating it would disrupt enemy deployment. Where'd he get grenades? Simple. He disassembled and studied almost every weapon in the armory. In the process, palming a bit of grenade powder, some steel balls, quietly crafting new grenades. Stashing them away, child's play, shoddy knockoffs, sole talent, you get it. 77 pistol rounds left, 5 homemade grenades. Harlan checked his supplies. Limited firepower. He risked a quick peek around the corner, then ducked back. Bullets instantly tore into the wall where his head had been, a hair's breadth away. 12 guards, 3 Wright N9 SMGs, 9 Type 73 Wasp pistols. They outgunned me. Harlan's gaze flickered. The lab assault had started a minute ago. B squad would arrive in 3. Time was running out. Normally, he wouldn't have this intel, but Harlan had snagged a comm unit from a dead guard, eavesdropping on enemy deployment. In the chaos, the guards hadn't noticed the comm leak. Harlan armed a grenade, hurled it. Boom, C squad scattered, diving for cover. Gunfire faltered. Opportunity. Harlan's face hardened. Mechanical arm raised, he charged, closing the distance rapidly. Smoke still swirling, Harlan burst through, slamming into a guard. Mechanical fist smashed into the guard's gut. He choked out a spray of blood and organ fragments. The punch cleaved through over half his HP, crippling him instantly. Fire, open fire, gunfire erupted. Harlan used the guard's body as a shield, advancing. Enemies, ruthless, opened fire, guards back erupting in bloody blossoms. Shredded meat. Using the human shield, Harlan closed the gap, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Mechanical arm roared. A punch, a kick, guards crumpling, bones breaking. 3 downed in brutal melee, C squad scattered, trying to regain distance. Harlan rolled, mechanical arm deflecting bullets, ding, 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 durability plummeting. He drew his pistol, firing off a magazine, dropping 3 more guards. Then, a jolt of pain in his arm and thigh. You were hit in the right arm by a Type 73 Wasp pistol. 17 damage. You were hit in the left leg by a Wright N9 SMG. 21 damage, gunshot wound, mild bleeding, 1 HP loss per second, 15 seconds. Bandage immediately, X2 gunshot damage, high chance of bleeding. A pain in the ass early game. Harlan's eyes narrowed. He'd anticipated this. He was almost grateful for Balota's torture sessions. Pain was familiar. Injury wouldn't slow him. No time for cover, no time for a shootout. He gritted his teeth, yanked the pin on another grenade, hurled it. Agents dove for cover again, gunfire ceasing once more. Boom! The explosion deafened him. Harlan roared, charging again. 1 minute later, C squad lay dead at the foot of his light power arm. The cost: 5 gunshot wounds, 110 HP lost, over a third of his health. He hastily bandaged the wounds. Out of combat, HP would regenerate, agonizingly slowly. Straight-up brawling is too costly. Wish I had active skills. Basic melee, basic firearms, just passive buffs. Harlan shook his head, grabbed the comm unit. C-Squad, respond, status report. Harlan rasped, mimicking a guard's voice. Cough, cough, C-Squad, heavy casualties. Target pinned down in the lab. Target wounded. Backup, urgently request backup. He picked up a fallen SMG, randomly firing, simulating heavy combat. Roger that, hold your position. B-Squad en route. The response came back, no suspicion. Harlan's feigned silence, his docile image, was deeply ingrained in their minds. They never considered Harlan capable of such deception. Harlan bundled the remaining 3 grenades together, wired them to the lab door, a tripwire attached to the pin, a crude booby trap. Door opens, boom. He flipped a table on its side for cover, quickly looted ammo from the corpses, loaded 3 SMGs, positioned them ready, pistol in hand, firing randomly. Maintaining the illusion of a firefight, he crouched behind cover, waiting for the door to breach. Heavy footsteps approached. Bang, the door splintered open. Boom, violent explosion, perfectly timed. Fireball erupted, shockwave blasting shards of glass, spent casings, debris, screams mixed with the blast. Harlan didn't hesitate. SMGs in each hand, using the dust cloud as cover, he charged to the doorway, thrusting gun barrels out, spraying walls on either side. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Smoke choked the corridor, obscuring vision. Thuds of bullets hitting flesh echoed until magazines ran dry. Silence, standard door breach. 1 to kick, rest to flank. B-Squad, lucky to avoid the first grenade, unlucky to walk into the crossfire. Kill notifications flooded his system, dozens of them. B-Squad, wiped out. Only 3 guards still breathing, lying in pools of blood. They saw Harlan emerge from the smoke, eyes wide, a mix of horror and disbelief. Booby traps, tripwires, this was the docile, silent Zero. Harlan finished them off with 3 pistol shots. Explosion, what's going on? Status report. Squad, a captain's urgent voice crackled over the comms. Harlan grabbed a few guns, fired haphazardly, feigning panic. B-Squad ambushed. Lab, heavy fighting. Request backup. Request backup. Squad A, immediate backup. Squad A captain was alarmed, leading his team down to level 3 lab, but unease gnawed at him. Something was off. He felt like he was missing a critical piece. Reaching level 3, Squad A captain suddenly realized it. He barked, "Everyone heads up. Zero might have infiltrated our comms. From now on, orders through me only." Guards' faces paled. Only now did they consider Harlan getting his hands on a comm unit. Harlan's prior image, silent and withdrawn, had blinded them to the possibility. Squad A captain's blood ran cold. Could B and C squads both be completely wiped out by Zero? He shuddered. If so, Zero, single-handedly, had annihilated half the base's defenses. He didn't want to believe it, but all signs pointed to the unthinkable truth. He was almost certain the B-Squad member from before was Zero in disguise, trying to lure Squad A into a trap, or maybe Zero was just trying to draw Squad A away. "Make a run for the main gate," Squad A captain barked. "Squad D, gate status report. Any anomalies?" "Negative." Squad A captain breathed a sigh of relief. No way to be led around by Zero's nose. Guard casualties were catastrophic, situations spiraling out of control. Relying on the remaining manpower to eliminate Zero was unrealistic. They had to call Hela. Squad A, retreat to the main gate now. Squad A captain made his decision. Gather everyone, fortify the gate, wait for organization reinforcements. Safest, foolproof plan. Whatever Zero was plotting, as long as he couldn't escape, he was trapped, doomed. Chapter 010, Night Owl's Squad A backtracked. Reaching the main gate, linking up with Squad D, B and C squads, likely wiped out, requesting reinforcements. "Hold the gate." Squad A captain surveyed the assembled personnel. 31 guards, 31 guns aimed down the corridor. Zero showed his face, instant lead storm, target shredded. Then, Squad A captain realized something was wrong. Wait, weren't they supposed to have 30 men? Beep beep. The door access panel flashed green. The main gate, unexpectedly, swung open. Everyone spun around. Dumbfounded, a black-clad agent, tactical backpack slung over his shoulder, stood by the gate, white keycard in hand, tipping his cap, a cheerful whistle escaping his lips. Bye-bye. He yanked the lockdown lever, dove to the ground, rolling through the closing gate just as it slammed shut. All guards stood frozen, blank stares. Utter bewilderment. Squadder captain's temple veins throbbed. The locked gate seemed to mock him silently. When did Zero infiltrate us? 80 centimeters of alloy door slammed shut behind him. Finally out, long mist sunlight bathed him, warm and comforting. The tension in his chest eased. He glanced at the sky, around 4 or 5 p.m., judging by the sun's position. The radiant star hung high, white clouds drifting across the blue canvas, faint outlines of several planets visible, some distant, some close enough to discern crater patterns. Harlan's moonlight source, reflecting starlight at night, deep breath, clean air filled his lungs, the taste of freedom. Harlan felt a surge of exhilaration. From the start, Harlan never intended to brute force his way through all the guards. Even with the base at its weakest, odds were still stacked against him. Even if he could win, if guard casualties mounted too high, no hope of survival, gate sentries would lock down the base without hesitation, even if he went full Rambo. First blood style, slaughtering every guard, they lock the gate, escape plan GG. Harlan would be the one stuck, screwed. He'd used the B-squad ruse to draw out a squad. Then stripped a reasonably clean uniform from a corpse, stowed the power arm in his pack, hid at the level 2 to 3 corner, blind spot, easily missed unless actively looking. Too long in a secure environment, guards' vigilance was abysmal. Harlan knew it. Squad A, tunnel-visioned on backup, rushed past the corner. Harlan slipped in behind. Unnoticed, low profile, cap pulled low. Squadder guards never imagined Zero audacious enough to infiltrate them. Who counts teammates in a rush? No one noticed an extra man tailing the rear. So Harlan tagged along with Squad A, safely reaching the gate. When guards' attention wavered, he slipped to the gate, played open sesame, locking the guards inside. A risky play. One misstep, he'd be riddled with bullets. If he had a choice, he wouldn't have gambled. But Balota wrecked his original plan, forcing his hand. 50-50 odds, he'd take it, surrounded by derelict farmland. Harlan spotted SUV tracks, followed them to the garage. Several black, bulletproof SUVs sat silently. Keys hanging by the garage door, convenient access, now especially convenient for him. Reinforcements incoming any minute. No time to linger. Escaping the lab was step 1. Genesis' pursuit was inevitable. He tossed the backpack with the power arm into the passenger seat, grabbed the keys, started the engine, hands on the leather-wrapped steering wheel. Nice touch. Foot down on the accelerator, high-powered engine roared. SUV leaping like a wild dog, crashing through the farm fence, barreling onto the forest dirt track. Harlan was clueless about local terrain, just picked a direction and drove. Black Hawk helicopter. Hella's phone rang. She frowned, answered, "Who is this?" Executive Hella, base compromised. Zero escaped, killed 30-plus guards. Deputy Director Balota, Dr. Vivian. Destroyed lab research data. Squadder captain's voice was defeated. They'd screwed up big time, guaranteed to take the blame. Failed to report to Executive Hella, more than just their careers were at stake. Not to mention their brothers-in-arms locked inside. No one coming to open the gate, stuck staring at each other till kingdom come. Hella's face registered shock. Playing games with her, she personally brainwashed Zero. Zero was faking it then too. No issues with other experiment brainwashing protocols. She'd been played the whole time. Hella frantically contacted the leader. Relaying squad a captain's report. The leader's breathing on the other end grew heavy, rage barely contained. Turn around. Pursue him immediately. Hella hesitated. My sister, shut up. You have no right to negotiate with me. Hela bit her lip, unwillingly barked at the pilot. Turn around, back to base. Executive Hela. Aircraft needs refueling before turnaround. Hurry it up. Nighthawk squad, mid-transit, received leader's orders. SUVs reversed course, returning to base. Opening the gate from outside. Trapped agents stumbled out, covered in grime. Surveying the base's devastation, Number One's face contorted with rage. Disbelief. He pointed at Squadder Captain, furious. Dozens of you couldn't stop one man. Infiltrator, someone on the inside. He couldn't believe it. He didn't believe Harlan could do it either. Guards paled. None could bear the accusation of organizational betrayal. Enough. Leader orders pursuit. Silver Knife cut in, his face impassive, leading Nighthawks back to their vehicles. Wait, experiment team's coming too, Number One yelled, herding his team into two other SUVs. He'd always seen himself as the superior experiment. Harlan's success, his predating Number One, grated on him, stirring self-doubt, only defeating Harlan. He felt, could reaffirm his value to the organization. Nighthawks ignored the surviving guards completely, their dismissive silence speaking volumes. They clearly saw the guards' failure to contain Harlan as utter incompetence. Guards bristled at the blatant contempt. Wait till they actually face Zero. Then they'll see what they're up against. These guards oddly, secretly hoped Zero escaped. Nighthawks failing too. Their blunder then might seem somewhat forgivable. Night fell. Through forest gaps, faint blue glows of multiple planetoids in the sky, various moons casting ethereal light. A breathtaking celestial tapestry, every star, ocean, planet, unique environment, diverse styles. Back in his old life, leisure players loved interstellar travel. Photographing stunning planetary vistas, publishing photo albums, surprisingly popular on official forums, selling out fast. Moonlight barely penetrated the dense forest canopy. Visibility was poor. Harlan drove cautiously, terrified of hitting a tree. Night driving was a disadvantage. Engine noise betrayed his location. Darkness limited speed. Night driving sucks. Better on foot. Harlan decided to ditch the SUV. Parked, killed the engine, pulled the keys. Engine silenced, forest silence closed in. Tree shadows in moonlight like spectral hands, eerie atmosphere. You obtained military ration biscuits X5, mineral water X3. SUV trunk held water bottles. Military biscuits. Harlan packed it all, shouldering his bag, disappearing into the woods. SUV tracks on the dirt path, impossible to erase. He changed direction after abandoning the vehicle. No car. Night became his cloak. Body weary, stamina low, but Harlan dared not rest. Not safe yet. After some distance, car engine rumble behind him. Harlan scrambled behind a tree, cautiously peeking. 6 headlights, weaving through trees, splitting in 3 directions. 3 vehicles, enemies. Harlan grimaced. Abandoning the SUV, erasing his tracks, forced pursuers to split up. Harlan moved stealthily, in a different direction. Then, a gunshot shattered the night silence. Alarm bells screamed in Harlan's mind. He dove to the ground, shoulder burned. He glanced back, a bloody streak across his right shoulder. Tree trunk. 10 meters away, a fresh bullet hole. A vehicle, 300 meters back. Nighthawk Squad 3, all dismounted, stark black visors glinting, shooter. Captain Silver Knife, sniper rifle in hand. 6 laser eyes. Harlan was startled by their gear, then realized, night vision. Harlan cursed his luck. Diving deeper behind cover, you were grazed on the right shoulder by a SWP sniper rifle. 18 damage, damn. Just a graze, sniper rifle damage, almost pistol level. You entered combat. Based on your level, you have gained detailed enemy information. Nighthawk Agent, total level, 15 class. Agent LV10. Elite Agent LV5 attributes, Strength 18, Agility 15, Endurance 25, Intelligence 10, Mysticism 3, Charisma 8, Luck 1 Energy, 0 Power Level, 40 HP. 350 Expertise, Trained, plus 100 Base HP, Pain Nullification, Combat effectiveness unaffected by injury skills. Basic melee LV4, basic firearms LV5, precision shooting LV2. Sniping LV1, captain loadout, equipment, SWP sniper rifle, captain loadout. Common, large caliber sniper rifle, attack 70 to 88, rate of fire 0.5/s, magazine 5 rounds. Power level 30, requirements, sniping LV1 thermal night vision goggles, common, night combat, essential type 73 Wasp pistol, common, small caliber sidearm. Attack 28 to 35, rate of fire 1.1/s, magazine 10 rounds, power level 13 G-type fragmentation, grenade X3, 50 to 80 AoE explosion damage within 20 m, chance of multi-hit damage. Power level 45 Jason SMG, common, attack 36 to 42, single shot ROF 1.5/s, burst ROF 4/s, theoretical max ROF 10/s, 3 sec overheat, magazine 30 rounds, power level 33 Kira light body armor. Common, ranged defense 10 to 12, durability 50 alloy dagger, common, attack 8 to 12, length 0.28 m 6 Nighthawk agents, elite enemies. Lower total level but specialized combat classes, high stats, fully armed. Trouble, Harlan's face grim.